Good afternoon. This is Marley G. Burnell, and I'm presenting to you the Portfolio Project Reflection for Week 7.5 for English 250 Research in Writing 2. I'm just going to take a couple minutes to reflect upon the entire Portfolio Project and discuss what I have learned and what I hope to learn in the future. So, the first thing I would like to touch base on is reflecting on what I've learned as a result of completing this project. I've actually learned several things. I've learned the effective use of time management is very important in completing this project in a very timely and efficient manner. When the assignment was brought down in week one, that was a very good thing because most classes in the past have waited till week two to introduce it. But here it was week one. They gave me the time to start gathering my ideas and come up with how I want to present the entire portfolio project. So that was actually a good thing in terms of completing the assignment. Another thing that I've learned is to check, and recheck my sources. And what I mean by that is to make sure that it's reliable, that the information doesn't come across as biased. Because then it can almost shift the entire paper to being biased, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to use the information throughout the research in order to further strengthen the paper, not come across as biased, but still maintain that professional tone and language as well. So that's another thing as I've learned. And actually, this course has helped me to achieve that as well through the various assignments and discussions that I've had with my fellow classmates and instructor. Something that I guess I could say I would do differently, for a continued improvement. I think one thing that I would do probably differently, it's easier said than done to be able to balance work, school, and family. And I'm going to be frank with you, at times I tend to struggle with that. I tend to take things a little lightly, like, I'll just try to, cram it all in, in the last minute. So I kind of broke from what was successful in the past in terms of the routine I had. And there were a lot of things that contributed to that. Obviously, I had family illness and I had to make a trip back home. As well as, between my working overtime, and then, try to tend to my family. So that's something that I need to improve upon is time management. It honestly has gotten a lot better since when I first started Bryan and Stratton. It is, I've done almost a complete 360. But there's always room for improvement, and I will continue to improve upon time management. It's much, much better than it was when I first started, but it's not where I would personally like it to be. So I need to continue to do that. Another thing that I probably would do differently is once it is introduced, I need to come up with a much better game plan for the ideas, allow myself time to conduct extensive research and to start gathering my thoughts in the head, whether it's coming up with rough drafts, brainstorming, doing various brainstorming activities, I think will also help for future projects as well. Another thing that I want to discuss right now is identifying and explaining how the course and institutional outcomes were met on this project. Now, there were some course and institutional outcomes that were met throughout this course. For instance, the first 3 course outcomes were met on this project. The first course outcome was analyze situations, audiences, and desired goals to determine the written format appropriate to the purpose of the message. Well, how was this met? Well, it was met because I was able to determine an audience, which in my proposal was to my employer, in particular to the general manager of the distribution center. So I wanted to cater my proposal to him and ultimately to the company as well, about proposed changes that I believe will prove beneficial to not only employees but also to the company as well. prepare clear and concise computer-generated letters, memos, reports, and proposals. Well, that was meant because we were able to prepare a proposal, and that's what this portfolio project was a proposal. So that right there in itself, we've met that outcome. It was clear, it was concise, it was straight to the point. You know, we didn't beat around the bush, we just got straight to it. And that was also another purpose of the assignment. And then, of course, to create written communications that promote positive interpersonal, intercultural, organizational, or international relations. Where here it is, we're creating written communication by way of the proposal that will, in turn, hopefully, create personal, interpersonal, and intercultural relations, positive ones. And that to me is key. You know, we want to, hopefully at the end of the day, you know, it strengthens us as employees, and we can all work together to achieve the goal, which is all of us hitting production. But as the saying goes, work smart, not hard. And so if you can work smart and work efficiently, then you don't need to work so hard to achieve goal, because you're doing it in such a smart, efficient way. And that will allow you to complete other tasks at hand. They may pull you and say, hey, I need you to go over here now that you're done with this. So that in turn will create positive morale, and it would also create positive relations, not only amongst ourselves, but also between employee to manager, employee to employee. You know, it doesn't matter what race, nationality you are, we're all working together, and that hopefully was the purpose achieved, the goal achieved by the completion of this project. Even some of the institutional outcomes were met. Information literacy and communication. We were able to utilize appropriate current technology and resources using the computer, using virtual library, EBSCOhost, Gale, various different databases to conduct extensive research on the particular topic chosen. And then we need to illustrate what we found. So we need to do the research and then communicate our findings through the research in various formats, which in this case was the written format. With my portfolio project, I also included a visual component as well, with some various graphics to help illustrate various points of the paper. Relational learning. I was able to discuss ways in which what I've learned throughout this course can transfer over to the workplace. Thinking abilities, quantitative and scientific reasoning. I was able to discuss ways and provide examples of, if we utilize this technology, this is what's going to happen as a result. And community and career as well. So those are some of the outcomes that were met throughout the completion of this project. And for future projects as well, we need to continue to incorporate the various outcomes to show the relation between what we've learned by the completing of this project over to how it would apply in the workplace. The next thing that I would like to discuss currently at this time is describe what I have learned throughout this course aligns with the dependability workplace capability. Well, to be honest with you, what I've learned throughout this course is that it's very important to be dependable. You know, employers don't like it when you're not dependable and you can't do tasks in a very timely and efficient manner. Throughout the completion of this project, I've learned that you need to be dependable. You need to submit tasks in a timely manner. With this course, tasks were submitted on a weekly or every other week. You know, various parts of the portfolio project would do at certain points throughout this course. So if you completed it on time, it shows the instructor how dependable you are, that you're able to submit the assignments in a timely manner. It shows that you're dependable. Like, I know I can count on Marley to turn in that assignment on a timely basis. You know, I know he'll submit it in on time. I know he's very dependable. And that's a good quality trait to have, not only as far as school, but in the workplace as well. You know, employers they're going to look for somebody who's reliable and dependable. I know I can depend on him to come to work on time or to complete this task so I can have him do something else. That's a very excellent trait, and it's a good bargaining tool to use for possible promotions. Like, hey, I'm dependable. You see, I have a perfect attendance record. You know, my performance record is on point. You know, it's good bargaining tactics to use, especially when you're trying to get promotions and so forth. Dependability, that's very important. How dependable? Can I depend on you to come to work? Can I depend on you to complete the tasks in a timely manner? So that is something that is huge in employers' eyes, is dependability. And I believe that this course aligns with that because I had to be able to submit assignments in a timely manner. I wanted to show that you can count on me. I'm dependable. I will submit the work on a timely manner. I will not submit late work. There's a deadline. I have to be able to meet that deadline. Just like in the workplace, you have deadlines. You got to be able to meet them deadlines. So they go hand in hand, and that's how I felt like I've learned throughout this course, is being able to meet deadlines to show how dependable I am, which will translate into the workplace as well. The last thing I want to discuss is wanted me to choose an additional workplace capability. And the additional workplace capability that I chose was perseverance. And I'm going to talk about why I chose that, and I'm going to analyze the importance of it to my career. I chose perseverance because throughout this course, and I'm going to be frank with you, throughout this course, I got frustrated. I really did. I got frustrated because I couldn't come up with no ideas. I felt like, you know, maybe it was something I didn't understand. But in any which case, I got real frustrated. I got to the point where I just wanted to simply give up. I'd rather take a 0. I'm tired of this. You know, the virtual library ain't really helping me none. And, you know, it's hard for me to find 2 of the 4 sources required, you know, whether it's an editorial, a case study, a review article, research. And I'm like, oh, man, where am I going to? Virtual library didn't seem helpful. Maybe it was because of the topic I chose and how I worded it. Whatever the case may be, I got to the point where I just wanted to simply give up. You know, I was just like, you know, I got real frustrated. Like, you know, whatever. You know, but then I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, what is it about my employer that I can propose a change to? And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about production. Because me and a lot of coworkers are always talking about the production that's going on in that workplace. And I want to talk about production. Now, granted, me personally, I exceed production. So me personally, you know, no matter what the goal and standards is, I'm going to go above and beyond. Because I'm trying to get that monthly bonus check, you know. But at the same time, just because I exceed it don't mean that I don't feel like there could be some changes in place to make it more efficient. You know, for instance, upgrading the technology that's utilized there. Secondly, having newer equipment, you know, that goes a part of it well, which was also, you know, what I talked about in the paper as well, and how it affects production. But just the overall operation, how things are operated, making, you know, a few little tweaks here and there. And that's what I focused on. And then at the end of the day, I said, all right, I'm going to do some research on this. You know, came across a few logistical websites, and, you know, then it just started taking off from there. You know, and that showed to me perseverance. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. And that translates to the workplace, because employers don't want somebody who's a quitter. You know, the tough get, you know, when the rough gets, you know, it gets tough, the going gets rough, you know, what, you going to quit? You going to bail out? You know? And employers want to see that when the going gets tough, are you going to bail out? Are you going to quit? Or are you going to persevere, stick by it, and continue it through to the finish? And that, to me, was what I displayed throughout this project, was a lot of perseverance. I wanted to just straight up throw my hands up and say, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, I knew that, well, for one, it may seem selfish, but for one, I knew that my eye was on the prize, which was August 7th. Why August 7th? Because that's the last day of the spring term, and then we get a month off before the fall starts on September 6th. So I had that in my mind, like, all right, I'm near the finish line. I can, come on, this is it. I can do this. So I had that in my mind, and then I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to show my kids that, when it gets tough, okay, I quit. I'm not gonna do this anymore. No, I'm going to show them that it takes perseverance. It takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of determination, and that's important in the workplace. And that's why I chose this additional work capability, because in the workplace, it's important not to give up. It's important to see it through. Are you going to start a task and then you're going to stop? I can't complete this anymore. You're just going to give up? No, you see it through. Finish the task. See it through. Take your time. If you got to take a break, recollect your thoughts, maybe change some things, you do what you got to do. But make sure that it's done. Because if you persevere, then that shows several things. One, it shows that you won't give up, but also shows that you are still dependable to the employer, because now you're able to submit the task, no matter how hard and gruesome it may have been, but at least you persevered to complete it, and in turn, you submitted it on time, which thus shows your employer and anybody else just how dependable and reliable you really are. Well, this will conclude the Portfolio Project Reflection. I would like to thank you for watching. This is Marley G. Burnell signing off.